Everybody's talking about the election results on the presidential race, but nobody I see is talking about election results right here in our own backyard that are going to affect us in our wallets. And there's kind of a sinister plan going on underneath the surface that you need to know about. There's nobody else in a position to connect the dots like me. Today, I spent 5 hours at the appraisal district. I've been talking with the chief appraiser. I've talked to several different CFOs of school districts in our area, and I've been talking with legislatures, and I'm going to tell you what's going on, how it's going to impact you, why you should absolutely stop right now and get ready to send a couple emails, and we can stop this, still do something about it. It's not too late, but I want to take us back to 2022, give you a little bit of history, tell you where we've come from, and we came from right here with me standing in front of the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors, defending myself from the absolutely corrupt punks over at the appraisal district. They were filing complaints against me, and I said, no, that's not okay. And you guys said, no, that's not okay. Y'all came to my defense. We stood up and said, this is not okay. We're not going to allow the appraisal district to continue to abuse taxpayers and run all over us and just crank up our values with baseless data. And the legislature said, we agree and we got your back, taxpayers. And it's because me and you took action that they changed the laws. And they said, whenever a citizen comes and stands in front of this board to hold these people accountable, they ought to be able to look at their elected representatives. And so what the legislature did is they rewrote the rules to allow us to elect 3 people to be on this board. And that's exactly what happened. It was a direct reflection of what happened in Tarrant County. It affected the entire state. So high five to you and me, and that's awesome. We've got more work to do. Let me keep going. All right. So on the day after the election, we woke up, saw Trump, Kamala, whatever. But this was a headline where Abbott went right out less than 24 hours later, held a press conference and said, now I've got the votes for school choice, okay? You know who's freaked out by this? All of the people that are staunch public school system advocates that think that this kind of plan is going to rob the school system of money. The truth is, I don't know if it actually will rob the school district of money. I think that this article in particular makes a case that the two can coexist. I don't understand it. It's over my head. But I know that if you're in the crowd that thinks that school vouchers and school choice is going to rob the public school system, this is going to freak you out. Also, on the heels of that, here's another issue happening in our backyard that's going to have ripple effects. I'm going to tell you how this story is going to affect us potentially statewide. Northwest ISD had a property tax election called a VADER, where the school district was asking for a little extra tax money. They're going to increase the tax rate to generate more money because they need it for running the schools. It failed. It got denied in 3 counties, okay? So if you're in Northwest ISD and this is happening to you and you see this and you're freaking out because of that, I can guarantee you that you're not sleeping well. You're thinking, how are we going to survive? What is this going to mean? Teachers or students or education, it's an alarming thing. Well, these Northwest ISD people took hold or started noticing another issue going on, and that's something going on at the Tarrant Appraisal District. The reappraisal plan, they said, is bad. Here, this is just a smear article. It's saying that their plan hurts children across Tarrant County. Obviously, that's a smear article. But what it exhibits to me is that we've got now a battle going on, and it's one side fighting another, each side trying to win. And when I see articles like this, it's a clear message to me that they've stopped listening to each other and they're just yelling at each other. The school district says the appraisal district is not considering schools, and the appraisal district is like, yes, we are. We're trying to help taxpayers. It seems like what's happened is we started here. Some good things happened. Here are the people that were elected to the board right here. These guys got on and they're like, we're going to stand up for taxpayers and we're going to get this new reappraisal plan implemented that's going to delay reappraisal so that our values will stay the same for 2 years. every other year they're going to get revalued instead of every year, and they're going to try and limit the increase by at 5% per year. It's not exactly as bad as it sounds, or as good as it sounds, depending on which perspective you hear from. But if you're in Northwest ISD and you depend on the appraisal district to jack up values so that you can get your funding on top of this and this and this, you're in complete freakout mode. Well, you know what happens when you get in complete freakout mode? You start defending yourself and attacking back. And the rumors that I've heard, that I'm not going to speak on behalf of the Northwest ISD, but I have heard that there are some school districts out there that are thinking that they might end up suing the appraisal district if they feel like they've been damaged because of what's going on at the appraisal district. And so here we are now at this point where good things have happened. Now we've got taxpayer representatives, but if the school districts feel like they're being ignored, then it's just the pendulum swinging back and forth. And what I don't want to see is, I don't want to see that pendulum swing so far that it goes back to hurt taxpayers again. I don't think that we have to deal with these local issues the same way that we deal with national issues. I don't think it has to be a winner and a loser in such a political process. I think that we can all get into a room and talk about it and come up with a solution that accounts for everybody's different perspective. Let me explain something real quick. As a realtor, when somebody calls my office and they say, I want to move to a particular area of town, I just need to make sure it has a good school system. Guess what? I get that question all the time, and we'll send them over to a good school system. Northwest ISD, Keller, those are school districts in my backyard. We'll send them there, and you know what happens when we do? People flock to those areas and property values go up, and we love it because that helps our financial well-being. When property values go up, our tax bills go up, and then the school district makes money, and that's the way that the system's supposed to work. But when you've got policies happening, or one of these entities starts abusing the other, and then now we feel like we've got to start fighting, and then we start ignoring half of the equation, then the opposite happens. If the appraisal district starts to strangle and maybe keep property values low, then the school district starts to suffer a bit. Maybe we can afford our homes a little bit more, but we're not happy because property values are going down. I don't think it's as bad as that in any one direction, but what I do think is if we don't have school districts and the appraisal district and taxpayers all talking together to come up with good solutions, then that pendulum will swing back and forth. And I'll tell you the solution to this whole thing: to avoid lawsuits. And you know what happens if a lawsuit gets filed? Then the legislature is going to come into play. Then they're going to change the laws, and they're going to undo all of this stuff if we don't get good people on the board of directors at the appraisal district. Then that's where this all comes home. Right now, there's something else going on, where the old school method of getting people on this board, I mentioned these three people were elected by me and you. Those are our taxpayer representatives. Well, all of these guys were put on that board the old school way, where me and you don't get a vote. The people that put them on are the school districts and the cities. It's our city council members, our school board trustees, our county commissioners. They're the ones that get to vote to determine who fill these 5 seats. And if we don't make sure that we get the right people on that board that can bridge the gap between the schools and the taxpayers, then they're going to undo all of this stuff. And the guy to do that is Gary Lasada. The reason I say him is because Gary Lasada has been there by my side and by your side from day one. He's gone through thick and thin. There was an attorney getting paid like $30,000 a month. He booted her off. Guess what else? The chief appraiser, gone. The head of residential that filed the complaints against me, he's gone. The chief appraiser's cousin that was the head of the commercial division, he's gone. There have been about 16 people that have been voted out, recalled, fired, retired early, one way or the other. They're gone, and none of it would have happened if it weren't for a handful of people, me and you included. But in that handful of people is Gary Lasada. If it weren't for him, we'd be up a creek. And here's the thing about Gary: he's not so in the tank for the taxpayer that he can't consider how it affects school districts, because the school districts affect the taxpayer too. He has a degree in education from Stanford University. He is very pro public education. He's the guy that's been on the board, served on the ARB. He's been there forever. He knows the whole system inside and out. He knows where the skeletons are hidden, and he knows how to communicate and be a leader to bring everybody together to make sure school districts are taken care of. And what we've got to do is we got to send out this letter. I'm going to attach to the email. I'm going to put a link in there. It's his words directly. We've got to get that in the hands of the people that can vote, which are the school board trustees and the city council members. So if you have a moment and you understand what I'm talking about here, you want to not see the laws get passed and it will undo all of the good progress that we've made, please take time to send an email to your local school board representative, your local city council member, and tell them that we've got to get Gary on there. Right now, the deck is stacked against him, and I will tell you why. Because some of these school districts are, I don't know if collusion is the right word, but they're talking amongst each other and they're trying to pick and choose who to get on that board, and they're trying to buddy up, and they are not getting to hear our voice. They've got to hear our voice, and they've got to make sure to know that Gary Lasada is going to look out for the good of everybody, making sure they're accurate values and everybody's held accountable. So that's the assignment. See below for the letter, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. You guys, if y'all don't take action, nothing good happens. We have you to thank for everything. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.